So I think that's just the trick. We have to get the owl plugged in and get the Zoom going first and make sure the owl's good there and then take it over to YouTube.
Okay.
Well, and the insurance.
Thank you so
I think
much.
we got it.
As always.
And I think I was only in here for like 5 minutes, so we're getting there.
We're getting there.
Next month it's gonna be smooth sailing. 2024, you're not even
It's gonna be smooth. Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Kira.
You're welcome.
Now, let me ask you this. Should I do this or should I do the Zoom meeting?
I
feel
probably
like I
would
should-
minimize this and leave the Zoom
That's
so that if
what I
anyone's on Zoom, you can see. Because you're still gonna be.
This is Zoom now.
Oh no, this
No,
is
this
YouTube. Let's sit here. So this one.
Uh-oh.
No, I think you can just go forward. Right here. No.
Oh, forward.
Yep. I just want to see if it'll take us back.
I want to get rid of this.
Yep, just X that. And now, yep, we're back to. I don't
Okay.
know why it's showing it like this, but we are back to being live. So I would just minimize this. I'd click. Is it the little button in the middle to minimize?
I tried that. There. Now, let's do this.
And now the Zoom. There
Yeah.
you go.
Okay. I think that's smarter, don't you?
I do.
Okay.
And then, yep, just unmute yourself when you're ready.
Okay.
And you're in business.
Thank you, my dear.
You're
As
welcome.
always.
Thank you.
Everything. I'm bringing them starving. Yeah, you want to do
I couldn't do it without you. You know that's true.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, John. Thank you, John.
Is it what?
Oh, great.
Color coded.
This must have cost more money.
Yeah, it should. Wait, short one on the end.
John, are you charging overtime?
Triple time. Triple my.
Look at this.
I like the color. This is expensive. Why? You know.
Crystal.
Hello.
No standing ovation?
Right.
Oh,
It's
you can easily stand.
At least maybe from the.
Well, you know, we do have a beach. You hear about the beach?
What?
You hear about the beach? Haley, there's some, there's some beach.
Yeah.
We do.
No,
Why?
no, you know, there's like a lot of old versions sometimes. Especially eyebrows. It is, you know, kind of Stalin like here. Like nothing's done. Huh?
Yeah, definitely to get this guy fired. I think in the last 3 days, fire of your attorney. Yeah, the other attorney's lovely. Oh, but no, that's Chris Jamie. Yeah, yeah, Chris has been
Martha,
lovely.
did you get your email budget? I sent that out last week.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
so
just a
you're-
few more hours to go.
So
So-
no, you didn't hear your email budget.
Not technically, so the money has arrived, then it's gonna come tomorrow. because I don't-
Thursday morning.
But the money's hit, so that's a good news.
Did you get your email budget?
Are you selling?
Oh, yeah.
Are you selling?
Anyone else? Get the budget?
Oh, actually, Clint's buying. Yeah.
Maybe, but I probably just deleted it. No problem.
I have it.
Tom, you're good? Big pink.
Looks like a hair and a glass of milk.
It was a rhetorical.
This is from Colin Sarah.
It's the second
Hair and a glass of milk.
Okay. Yeah, it used to be that.
I saw. Yeah, he can do this.
You know, I looked at office this morning. He does. I realized that I had double.
But yeah, that's what you said, shut off.
I did that, that's all.
Pungent, it's nice.
Oh, I just put some lotion
Oh,
on.
it smells, no, it smells nice though, I love it. Sorry, no, it's, don't be sorry, I like it.
That's huge, my smells.
I love smells, I'm not the person that gets,
It was.
unless they're like puky smells, I don't do well with that. Ours is good.
See, on the right-hand side, monthly county costs, it shows the mortgage, that's the sum of the monthly payments. for that. It was
Okay.
also
Carried.
captured just under the mortgage itself.
Got it.
So the total expense showed.
Paul,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Very
exciting.
Very exciting.
Lot of meetings,
That's your definition.
but it's open.
Well, we still have almost two problems.
Yeah. Well, hopefully there'll be challenges.
I think, of course. Yeah, no good turns on them.
Jan, I think you can.
Okay, I'm
And there's a direction of 12.
We can start.
No, you don't do that.
It just needs to be like.
More than half.
So I'm gonna call the Tuesday, December 19th meeting to order. This is the last board meeting of 2023. And it's at the usual time, 4 p.m. Thank you all for moving your day to this time. And thank you for your service to Hudson this year. We appreciate all of the thinking that you've contributed and the questions you've asked and the hard work that you've done. I want to let you know that Pete, our board member Pete, is in Florida and his senses regrets season the warm sunshine and he can't make it to the meeting. I thanked him and went an email for sending the rain up our way from down there. And our new board member, Britt Zipperman's father, was in an automobile accident on Saturday and she was hit at all the medical so he's in better shape. So all should be well with him. They don't really know what happened. He was carting off the road. He was going grass hunting and his dog Lulu and his truck went off the road here in Sharon, Connecticut and down an embankment and hit a tree head on and pressed the front of the pickup truck flat. I think he broke some ribs and they don't know what happened. They think he might hit ice or something. So anyway, I saw her yesterday. She's doing really well. She said, please apologize. I don't like to miss my second board meeting. Are there any comments on the minutes that are circulated for your review from our last meeting? Remember? You got the minutes?
I didn't think we got the minutes. I sent you an email.
They were at the top of that whole collection of bylaws and all that stuff. They're in that chunk at the top. I think, that was the first thing I had. So,
Did you get them?
I have a copy of them. If you wanna review them now. Which is a lot to review now. I'll do that.
I'm good.
Did you get them?
I'm sure.
It's a resounding.
They were edited
Vote of
and
confidence.
and reviewed and they were well taken, so they represent the meeting well. So, you what? Technical issues.
Okay, what date did you send?
I sent them, I think, on, I sent them on Saturday. Which would have been a whole bunch of, oh, she can't get in. This student can't get in because they want to get in. The chamber is closed.
Where do I renew my membership?
I know. She's not coming.
What day do you reckon again, Chris? 14?
Saturday, what was Saturday? 16th, okay. I'm looking at my sense.
No, you see, I sent it to you.
That's correct.
You sent it, I thought.
Because I said I don't think I have it, and you something about, you something a few days before. Okay.
You gonna put them up on the screen?
Technology is not a lot about it.
We do it all the time.
You
HDC.
don't do it.
Well, I use
Jan does.
leads, broadly speaking.
Yeah, okay.
I don't do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I really don't, I don't do
She doesn't.
YouTube channel on HDC, so I think
She's got
Oh,
double task.
there's
She's got a
double,
double task. here,
Yeah.
by the way.
I've got 2 videos.
Okay.
She's booked. Okay, well, the minutes are, I mean, I don't know how to handle this actually. I could, you could table the minutes approval for now, and I could circulate the minutes again, and everyone can respond to the email in a fashion that they. Is that part of it? Is that?
I make a motion then that we wait for time to circulate the minutes by email and set those back same way.
With board members responding in
Is there a second?
Second? Can I
Done.
second?
Yes. Not really. Everyone,
We need a-
are there any objections?
Hi, that was cute.
No,
What made
the-
you think of looking at me after timely fashion?
Breaking into the chicken.
Chris, there were no objections.
Okay, no objections, okay, that's we're doing that, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we'll get going here. Our agenda is really full today, so I'm gonna keep the remarks I have for you short. We've been working on the idea of repurposing the jail as a school following the 2019 feasibility study for the last 7 months. Possibly the biggest challenge is making a project of this size and scope happen. Possibly the biggest challenge of doing that, is of making the scope happen is the purchase terms and the financing of such a project and evaluating its viability going forward. We have been talking to banks and financing people, developers and others over the course of these 7 months. But we know that we could benefit from the expertise of people who have experienced working with nonprofits, this size purchase and real estate. For us to think we could do this without some assistance is kind of naive, and we know that some people are already saying that they don't think we can pull this off. So expertise is what we're going for, and towards finding help with this, I was introduced to a firm in New York City, as I said before, in other board meeting, that specializes in working with nonprofits to navigate the purchase and implementation of real estate in line with missions, our mission of real estate. At our last board meeting, we were waiting for their proposal. We received it and it was very thorough. We didn't get it in time for the board meeting, but after reviewing it, it seemed to the executive committee and John that they were covering a lot of ground that we already covered in their proposal. We already gathered facts. We already had a feasibility study. We already had ideas of who would be tenants in the building. And some of their expertise is identifying the property that would be good, identifying what tenants would go in there, and identifying how it fits with the mission. So we already kind of got down that road. The part of the road that we are on is the financing and finding investors, private investors, and others of that ilk. So we asked them to do a revision to their proposal and focus on helping evaluate, our financial situation, the financial aspects of buying the property, and others who might participate in being involved. We'll be discussing that later in this meeting. But a lot of other work has also been happening, and so we'll go into those. Phil, I'm gonna turn to you for that. Go ahead.
I just wanted, I made a note to myself on a bit of housekeeping, and if I don't say it, I won't remember it. We're heading back into a new year, which means we are lucky to have the opportunity to do another audit through the fund Pat Harris system. Chris and I talked a bit about bringing more folks into the audit process, and we have to have a policy that proposes that there be a designated quote-unquote audit committee of oversight, and it really that really is about oversight. But it also means that folks other than worker bees who are pulling together financials, such as myself and our bookkeeper Susan and our brokers all get engaged on this. But you all should have an opportunity to look at it and see what this is about, get introduced to it, and learn about it as we go forward. Short story. I talked to UHY if we could do a kickoff on financial audit. We may bring in our colleague, whose name is what?
Julie Marshall.
Julie, who does the ADO compliance side of the audit with us, and is exceptionally useful at pulling that together. UHY proposed anytime on the, I think it's a Tuesday and Wednesday, either January 8th or January 9th. So I'll get back to you everybody by note with more specific dates. It's a open session, but it also needs to be a working session, because what I need to take out of it is the to-dos that Sue and I have to deliver on the financial side. And similarly, other folks are involved on the ABO side. So that's the thing.
I just want to say though, the audit is due on March 31st, which is Easter Sunday this year, and so Julie has told us that it will probably be due by March 29th, that Friday, so they don't put it off.
Well, we made it every year.
We'll definitely.
So I don't see a problem going forward. Some of the things that we could pick the box on missing bits were in the areas of policies in certain committees, and that's getting taken care of. So I'm looking forward to a binless audit, and I think that'll happen. On the numbers side, I sent you a statement of activity and balance sheet. I just want to point out, as I often do, a certain amount of brilliance on the part of Phil, where you see the $90,000 income or investment earnings projected. This isn't even end of year, and we're up to 74,402. So I would like to consider myself a return close.
You're very close.
Thank you. There were no other excitements or events or exceptional expenditures during since the last month's presentation that would rise to the occasion of board discussion. So I ask you all for a motion to approve the budget.
Motion to approve the budget.
I'll
John
make that
Freeman
motion.
first, second, Paul in favor.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Great.
Okay. Next on the agenda is progress reports. I just want to remind everyone that we were one of our third parties to be involved in Winter Walk. We, as you remember, paid $5,000 to cover the cost of the staff inside of Hudson Hall to do the organizational, keeping the plates on mistakes going forward. And the woman that did it was extremely talented and into it, and she, I think, learned a lot in this go around. So next year she probably would be a very valuable asset to all of it goes forward. I curated the food trucks on behalf of HDC, which was new to the event, and they were quite successful. Only one had trouble with the generator, and this is going to always have that problem. Everyone did very well according to the people. So, and I did see a lot of people eating on the street, which was the goal. Some of the restaurants did participate too, and that I think is good. Maybe that would be good for people. There's going to be a meeting with Hudson Hall, the city, and HDC, and various people that ran the show in January to do a download on Network 27 and see where Network 28 wants to start working going forward. So I think that they had extremely. What do you think the estimate turnout was for that night? Did they talk about it in the meeting? I think it was 4,000. Okay.
And the weather was great and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. And the street was safe, nobody had a hole up until the day of the water.
Filling holes.
Filling holes, right. Okay, let's move to the Hudson Hub update. All development projects need a pro forma for financing and redevelopment. And John Friedman has graciously done the first working draft of this document. And so he's passed out a copy of it here, which I will refer you to in
The first page is really the results, but, and you can see them, it's not a business, owning this building. But it's not a money suck either. We'll go through some of the assumptions that led into these results. I'm summarizing 3 years here. The stuff in white on the first page, those are monthly numbers. They're just there because I work on a monthly basis and then I summarize it. But you see the 3 years and the totals with the cumulative at the bottom of the results. And there's a lot of fluctuation in those result numbers because of the way that the debt accumulates in the project on the assumptions. So we start with what's available to rent, and at the bottom, at the end of the day, the rentable square feet is about 22,500. Because one of the things that the city has done percentage. I think it's because the senior center's over a lot bigger than that, so there's no value proposition for that in the work. But you can see on the second page, these square foot numbers come from adaptive reuse study. I didn't vet them, I didn't check them, and any of that. I just took them and used them. When we spoke to Bank of Green County, they told us that they could lend up to $10 million into this project without any further approval from just their committee at the bank. They're under the board. That would be under a program where the bank receives credits for reinvesting in the community so that they can open more branches under federal law. And that would require us to discount rent in order to get those loans. And it enables them to give us a better rate, slightly, not much, but more importantly, they can finance a larger chunk. So rather than having like a 30% typical commercial down payment, we could have only a 20%. In any event, the real thing that I ran up against is trying to understand what rent is. There's not a lot of comps for new office buildings. Crystal, what do you pay square foot?
I don't know exactly how much square footage I have, but there's 3 front spaces and 2 small office spaces, like 2,500. Not a lot of space.
Okay, so I know I pay about $21 a square foot, and I'm in an old building, it's drafty as hell.
I also don't pay my heat for my Wi-Fi.
So you're probably paying somewhat, I'm not as sensitive size though.
Probably not far from what you're paying.
Yeah, I think it's probably pretty close.
It's usually 16, some buildings are $16 here, 16 to 20.
Well, there's retail and then there's office, and so we're only talking office, because there's not any retail space in this building. And that's not the comprehension of it, at least as I understand it.
Right.
The board's thoughts on it so far. Anyway, if I use $21 a square foot a year, and a 20% discount on the rent, then our average base rent starts at $16.80. I assume that every tenant would get a 3-month lease holidays. Anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, ask me, because I'm assuming that you know what I'm talking about. So I assume a 3-month lease holiday. I also assume, for purposes of this pro forma, which is not really realistic, that we would have tenants on day one from opening. The reason I assume that is because it was easier for me, and also because there will be a large lead to the building going live and being tenantable. And so we should be able to sell some leases up front, but not some condominium space. Anyway, but I assume a 3-month rent holiday at the beginning of each lease, and I assume an annual escalator of 3%. And again, this is only dealing with about 23,500 square feet. The space that the city is allocated is rent free. Okay. So, how do we pay for this? In this model, it's almost 100%. It is 100% based on that. So start with a $3 million initial loan in month one, and it caps out at $10 million. I'm on page 2, on the left-hand side. Generally speaking, anything in yellow is a variable, anything in blue is derived. And if anybody wants a copy of this electronically, I'm happy to provide it to them. You can go around with anything in yellow, and we'll do that for the whole month. It's not that this is a very sophisticated loan, it's basic loan. So we start with a $3 million loan. That's our estimate of what it's going to cost to purchase and close on the building from what we've got, the feedback we got from the school. And then in the first year, we draw down another $1.5 million. In the second year, we draw down $4.5 million. And in year 3, another $1 million. So that's a total of $10 million in mortgage debt that's assumed on this project, and also assume that we'll have some grants. I try to be not too enthusiastic about our grant capacity, but I also think that it is an important building and that it will provide an important role for the city, so that we should be able to get some traction in that regard. And I'm aware from talking to different people about this, that there's a lot of programs available at the state and federal level for adaptive reuse and energy efficiency and what have you. So I think there's a certain number of grants that we can step into.
But for the purposes of your estimating, you weren't enthusiastic about that, because
I don't think there's,
you
yeah,
it
right.
affects the form.
Yeah, so in this model, right, you don't get anything in the first, from month 1 to 6. And month 1 starts the month from close. We would assume that. But then we would, we would get like a $250,000 in the second half of year 1, $2 million, in this model. Again, it's not very sophisticated. These numbers come in on day 1 of each year. $2 million in the second year, and then the $3 million. So a total of $5.25 million in grants across the first 3 years, which is not nearly enough. It's just not enough. We need much more aggressive grant. We need presence. We need rich debt on this. Okay. I also assume that over the next year, 2, 3, that interest rates will start to come down. So that's reflected in the debt service, which is the bottom, the quarter of the left side of page 2. The third part just shows you how the debt accumulates, net of the grants. And again, it's not sophisticated, so this is day 1 of each year. So, it's rough. These are rough numbers. But you see what the monthly payment is in each month of the year. The first 2 columns are year 1, because there's a bump in the middle of year 1, and then year 2 and year 3. You can see what the monthly payments look like. They actually go down, and that's because of the timing of some potential grants, hopeful grants. And then at the bottom, it summarizes total expenses. But the carrying costs are calculated on the right hand side. And they're, I have a They're organic, so they're different. So the monthly carrying costs, a lot of this is estimated. I did talk to, Mark Fingar, to get estimates on what the insurance costs would be, and those were reflected in here. The mortgage costs, I'm starting at the bottom for some reason. The mortgage costs are derived on the left-hand side of this page. Utilities are estimated, they're low for a building of this size. But my assumption is that we're going to be upgrading our energy infrastructure in the building as part of this project, one way or the other. So our ongoing recurring costs, these are all recurring costs, recurring costs, will be relatively low to the square footage. I tried to find what the average elementary school in New York cost, the carrying cost is for electricity per square foot, and I just couldn't find that.
And as you know, I asked the school if they had broken it out by building energy costs, what thermal business goes for, and they lumped them all together into the three buildings. So very silly.
Or actually look at the bills, because I'm sure that they actually will break it down. Right, because they enter the bills one at a time. They put a big stack of national grid bills and then put them on in one thing. All right, so that's utilities. Landscaping, these are all estimates. I just pulled these numbers out in my year. The first year is more expensive than subsequent years simply because there's a lot more to do after as construction is being done. And the management is a salary. That's estimated on $60,000 a salary with a slight annual increase in the carrying costs of the employee associated with it. And then the reserve fund is just an arbitrary number. You have to have a reserve fund, and this way we build it up. And maintenance is just, nuts and bolts, what's the payment, stuff like that. 2,000 a month, just a number. That increases to 4,000 a month because things tend to get more expensive, and as the budget gets older, it'll start to get even after 2 years. So you can see where the total, how this works out on an annual and on a monthly basis, and then the maintenance per square foot is used to generate the maintenance cost for the tenants. And that's either included in their rent, or if it's a purchased property, or if it's a non-rental property, then it's just a charge. And so, it goes up to 91 cents a square foot, but it starts to come down because the debt starts to be under this model. At the end of the day, if you go back to the first page, the things that are in color are what's being summarized on this, what to look at, obviously. At the bottom of the results, you can see that this is not a business. It just simply doesn't generate a gross profit margin that is anywhere near sufficient to actually run it as a business. It's not an investment, but it doesn't suck money either. Even under this limited model, it's relatively self-sufficient. But this model only goes out 3 years. I'm only comfortable going out 3 years in models myself, but my understanding is in a 10-year model to go into most of the foundation grant processes. I don't know why. I mean, it's, you can't even tell what the weather's going to be tomorrow, but they want to know what the economic conditions are going to be for a microeconomic project. But just looking at this for 3 years, you can see that it's not a business, and this model is highly dependent on the generosity of strangers. But it's not getting enough generosity. It needs more. Because this is a very thinly capitalized project at this point. Also, unfortunately, I don't have the time to build the type of model I would build for a client, for a project that has enough nuance built into it that we can really tweak it and put pressure on it and see where it breaks and where it withstands pressure. You can't really do that. You can go around with the things in yellow all day long and you'll see things change. But I couldn't build in enough Yeah, it's like timing for when grants come in, when construction picks up or when it slows down. It's probably insufficient for anybody except the bank. That's more interested in doing the job because they're gonna get something besides just the money paid back, and having a good sense that the money could be paid back. If we're gonna give this to a grant writer, I think it'll be insufficient. That's my understanding at this point.
Well, I think this is an excellent skill set, and we were really certain to have it. So, I mean, it's a really good study. And, does anyone have any questions they want to ask?
I want to get a response from, I have a fairly good idea what time consuming is.
Yes.
And, it's hugely appreciated. I had said in previous meetings that I wasn't comfortable. So we had the model, and I'm not worried about the fact that this is going to change as we get more information. It's what he was supposed to.
Yeah, hopefully.
But the fact that we can look at this, we can change the assumptions, we can get more data in on available grants. We have decent data on banking, we have no data on grants, and that's part of what grants coming in. I'm saying, I know you appropriately apologizing for the flaws, but I think it's great.
Well, thanks. But, I mean, I think what it shows, I mean, I think, although I try not to make things sunny, that it's a little aggressive on the rent perhaps.
Yeah.
That the rent may be a little lower than I think it's going to be. Because when they start looking at comps, they're not going to be, I don't think that the bank or that the whatever federal agency that has to review this is going to be too concerned with like what the nuances of the available stock is. They're just going to look at like, what's the average per square foot for an office in the city. It's going to be lower than for new construction.
And you're not looking at practical space either, meaning, you look at the cafeteria where they use, I could say, the cooking area where they've been making, all of that needs to be crafted out as far as not officeable,
Yeah, well, I think that there is some of that built in there, because if you look at the numbers, they don't add up.
They don't, but that's what I'm saying, the 83,000 at the gross, at the bottom, is, and they talk about a 90,000 square foot building, so we're talking about 7,000.
Right, so there's a difference, like, as we all know, like, some people measure from the outside of the bricks, and some people measure from the inside of the bricks. And so, let's say that there's a 10% loss factor there. Well, that's gonna account for about half of what we're not seeing here, or a quarter of what we're not seeing on it. And the rest is, I think, public space. It may be the gym, it may be the locker rooms, that hallways. And then there's gonna be some space that's gonna be lost for boilers and whatever else that we need, the infrastructural things.
I don't know if you count, typically, a house isn't determined, a basement. A basement is not considered in the whole mix when you talk about square footage.
Well, once it's finished.
And we have a second means of egress.
Yeah, but that should be part of the 90,000 square. The basement, that's all.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Although
it's
part of
tenable.
Part of the basement faces the back with the windows, then the front.
Well, that whole
faces-
basement is essentially for daycare. That's the primary tenant on that floor, because they need to be afraid. So, I think it's a federal requirement that they
Yeah.
be afraid.
That's it, yeah.
So, and that way you could also have a playground right there, right outside, so kids can, adults don't have to, well, there's no interaction, so they're safe, they're controlled, everything is cool, insurance companies will be happy, parents will be happy. I think that we can use it, but a lot of that space in the back is where the infrastructure should go, because it's just freaking tremendous. And then, except unless we can, if we wanted to put in like a professional dark room, people can use.
Or cloud computing.
Whatever.
Or
Or
digital
some,
storage.
right. Or if they have a lot of renewable energy and people want to like mine.
Right.
So whatever.
All that's something to be repurposed.
Grow marijuana. Yeah, mushrooms. Mushrooms. And they make them legal. Right. Anyway, so that's really, essentially like, this thing can float, but not in the heavy seas. It requires a tremendous amount of support. On a going forward basis, it's going to be reliant on its maintenance charges, as all buildings are, and its income. But the rent is going to be depressed until that note goes away.
That's how we finance it.
If, right, true, that's the assumption.
There's a whole other world out there of funds that we haven't even touched.
We'll get to that.
So, that's all I was able to share.
Does anybody have any, Tom, do you have a question? Oh, okay. Okay. I see. Okay, we'll continue to refine this document as we move forward, and, I really appreciate it.
Very good.
Hey, Jonathan. So let's move on to the John and Wolf proposal. I circulated a revised proposal last night, but if you didn't have time to read it, I'm just gonna give you the high points of the proposal, as these kinds of things have a lot of words in the front and a lot of bars in the back of who's the team. And, I think that this is a 25-year-old firm that's worked on hundreds of projects like this for organizations, and by their own admission, they feel like they've shaped millions of square feet of real estate space in Manhattan and also across America. They work with nonprofits exclusively, which gives them a specific expertise in thinking about buying buildings and financing buildings and developing real estate. As we all know, we've never done a project, or HDC's never done a project of this size or scope. It requires lots of collaboration and help from others who have done similar or very complex projects like this. They came highly recommended to me from Meredith Kane, who is a resident of Grayville, New York City. She was the former chair of the partnership, and she's the lead real estate lawyer in her law firm in Manhattan. Paul Wolf was someone she had worked with in a similar arrangement, like we were trying to repurpose a building for a client. And she found the firm to be extremely responsive, very inventive, and very collaborative. She didn't have any trouble working with them. So she recommended them to me. And Paul Wolf, the founder and principal, and members of his team had several Zoom calls, one Zoom call in particular, and an in-person meeting with John and myself and the executive committee. And this project fits into their head in a very cool way, because it has a sustainability aspect. It has a community embellishment that's good for the community. And they like doing projects that end up with lots of different boxes are checked in that way, not just putting people in a building. So they see the potential for this for Hudson, and I think they've been very responsive to any questions that we've had. So I think they're great. Engaging them is not without a cost. That's the moment we're at right here. But let me give you some of the thoughts on why we think this is really worth considering. First of all, they're going to give us an impartial view of the benefits of owning and not owning the building, and on the viability of owning and not owning it. And they will make a recommendation to us. They may recommend that we not buy it. They may recommend that we not go forward with it, but they may find ways to think about it that we haven't thought about. So that's number one. Number two, their experience and guidance is something that amongst ourselves, as much as we really want to know what we need to do, we don't have that knowledge, we don't have that expertise. Their experience in developing many different projects like this brings to mind a database of thinking that we really need to think over the last 25 years. Their team will review our pro forma, which Jen just presented, and they'll also do their own pro forma, which they feel is a very important part of who they identify as funders for us, who they identify as people we should be talking to. And I think this will give us a double pro forma that I think we've never had that before. I think this is a very big piece of their deliverable to us. They will give us some idea of what we can expect in terms of required levels of funding, what we should be thinking about getting funding for, what we might not And they'll give us an idea of what the operating revenue will be once the building is up and running. And I think these things, as John just took us through them, I think it would be interesting to hear how they present that idea. And it's obviously a good part of the program. They'll also give us a sum of the projected sources and uses for the funding gaps that they identify in the process of doing the program. They might find ways where there's a gap for us to think about another source of funding that would fill that gap. And then also develop strategies with us for how to think about it. This is the financial thinking strategically is something that we're learning about. And also, really importantly, I know that we should have been getting grants written, and HDC does have a history of grant writing and putting people together for grant writing. This is a big, huge job of grant writing. Maybe as you said, there's so many ways that the idea of what goes in the building process grants, and there's a lot of ideas for ways just to get the building, fix the building, remediate the building. There's grant money available for that too. So the landscape of grants is huge. They will jumpstart this opportunity, I believe, outside of the straight mortgage idea. They have a network of private investors, foundations, which they reference often, philanthropy, individuals, public sector, and private sector people, and grant sources and other fundraising ideas that would overlap nicely on this project, and they could speak somewhat in that regard. And this is what got us thinking that this is the area that we really want to focus on. This will be key to moving us forward, and it will also give us a really good education as a board on how they think about grants and money, how they think about where the sources of money are that we have not been looking at. And I think that's an education that will take away from the table long term. And we should also, if we do go forward with this, the fees that we pay them to do this, I think will be well purposed in the future and recycled on other projects that we might want to do, because we have met new different people to talk to about financial investment, and going forward, this thinking each one of us will be stronger about the ideas of investment in the future. And the tenant aspect of it, now we know who we think are the tenants for this building, and we, as anything, when they say yes, we're in, yes, we'd like to come in, people who fall away in the voting power, or they decide it isn't really good for them as it moves forward. So there's going to be some holes to fill for sure, and it's not fully filled as it is. So they have ideas that might relate to the funding. Who should be funding the building? That would be good to me, like the underrepresented funding of that particular aspect of having these people in the building. So the guide as to how to think about who else might be good in the building is something that I do think we'll learn about. So I just want to say that they're very personable people, and they're very enthusiastic about Hudson and making this happen. So from my perspective, I feel like it would be very easy for us to work with them. They did respond very quickly when I said we need to revise the proposal. It was much bigger. We need to revise it down to a more focused point of view on the financial piece of it. And they had no problem thinking about that. They were reluctant to turn it around in a week and make it happen. So their work style is really good, I think, too. And I think that that's my executive committee, a good place with them. If you want to add anything to that, or please do after that.
Okay, no problem. I like this proposal. I think that what we're saying, I hope fairly directly, is that we're approaching an inflection point. Do it or don't do it. And that is not a good time for amateur effort. We actually need to know in as reasonably short period of time as we can, whether or not this is still viable. In terms of the cost investment, we've all put in it. It was the city's idea to initiate this concept, going back some years, to do what I think everyone sees to be a very good feasibility study. But a lot of that is about the building. I want to talk for a minute about what's not tied to the building. This will tell us I think fairly accurately based on the resume of these folks, if we should do that. But other things are going to be happening at the same time. The funding of this is not just a construction funding. It's about critical service silos that we hope to house there. So when we say that these guys are going to open the window to us, to looking at primarily public but also private sources, they will in fact be looking at those silos that are critical to our mission. For example, child care and daycare. For example, youth services. For example, all the stuff that's coming in. We're going to be looking at those silos for funding as well as the overall project. I also believe that the investment in these guys at this point could easily come back to us through a grant for structuring definitions of project going forward. That's definitely not uncommon. And I don't think anyone would question, given the reputation these people have with New York State and in the grant world, that it's going to be that difficult, in fact, to recover a lot of the money we're putting in. So my bottom line is a green light on this. We're going to do, in my youth, we call it the data dump, but that's not because we get a ton of information through interviews, through meetings with different people in the city that need to be passed on to these guys and structured. We have all the work that the city did, which means that we can get them to concentrate on what we want them to concentrate on. A lot of that is pure and simple feasibility and funding. Whether or not there's a good reason to believe that the dollars are there, will define as much as everything else, whether we go forward. And we're not going to find that out on our own. And we want to give this thing the best shot it can get, which is not Phil or Chris looking through the state. We want to go directly through people who've gotten this money over and over again for other clients from specific entities within the state, and these guys have.
Well, I thought when we spoke to them was that they seem very sophisticated about how they structure some deals and ways that we wouldn't necessarily think about it. And everybody here's background is on the profit finance, it's all for profit. So there's a lot of different things. They were talking about one building where one foundation put up like $75 million to purchase the building and then put another $100 million or something into a fund to support it for the Joyce Theater. I'm like, we'll take some of that. So, they clearly have great network, great connections, and they know how to work with them to achieve goals and to create stable economic models for these projects. And that's something that none of us have experience with. We build things, big things, little things, we run things, we run things now, but we've never done that. And and all of the grant evidence surrounding it, particularly when it comes to like private foundations. That's a completely different animal than anything I've ever run up against. Private family offices, I deal with it all for profit investment, and so I don't know anything about it myself. So I was very impressed by that flexibility that they.
Well, having been what do I do here? In our company, probably other people's companies who every now and again hire consultants like this. These are a little bit different, but still it's the same thing. And you're only as good as, if you believe in the information you're getting, you really have to listen. You throw money out the window. So I think as, I like what they're talking about. They are absolutely focused on not-for-profit. It's something completely unlike I would have imagined. I know other organizations have did it. And rewriting our playbook isn't such a bad idea. I mean, we have our own playbook that we all put together from the various members of the committee. Not asking you to rewrite it, but to augment it. And I think we're only going to be as good as the information we glean from what they have to say, and perhaps it'll allow us to question. To Phil's point, we're going to be getting a big data dump. We've done a lot. There's a lot of information that we have, but they're not coming into this raw. And I'm always loath to spend money on
Actually,
yeah, it's not actually on the but I recognize that there's value here, and having listened to them, read through some of a number of the projects that they've worked on, I think it'll be money well spent. If nothing else, when we step away from it, let us say we're not going to do the project. It's who knows how we can say. But I'd like to think that they're going to endorse our idea and help us. And also and to John's point, that they're talking about the avenues and these silos for financing. And the Joint Theater, it was an incredible amount of money. I'm not suggesting we're going to get the same sort of.
Oh, yes.
I'd like to.
That'll be good.
They're most interested, and that's all I have.
Yeah, I too, I was really very impressed when we spoke with them and we met with them. And this would really be like investment spending, as Phil said, if it could be do or die. It might be do or die for this project, but I think their connections, their knowledge, their expertise, they can really cover ground that we really don't have the time or the expertise for. So, the money is invested in them, as I say, it might not go forward on this particular project, but I still think it's a very valuable investment for HDC overall, just because of the opportunities I think that we presented.
And if we didn't do this project, we'd still have those connections.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We would be reducing.
Yeah.
So this proposal includes a 3-month fact-finding period. We talked about it amongst ourselves. It seems like a long time since we've been already doing it for quite a while and we have a lot of the facts. So it would be we have to give them their due. They have to get up to speed. They have to understand the project. So we don't want to force them to go too fast, but we do want to emphasize to them, should we decide to go forward with them, we would like to let them know that all the data that we have an in-person data dump day where we really come up here, we tour the building, and get a sense of what it's like inside, and then we give them our contacts, all the information that we've accumulated and all the documents, and see if we can accelerate that time estimate. If we can, and then move into the financial aspect of it, which is what we're considering getting to now. And so, if it can go more quickly, we'll try to make that happen. Because we are very aware of the time that we have worked on this, and also the fact that it is still on the market. So I'm going to open the floor to anybody's questions. You want to bring anything else with that, or ask a question about what you heard?
Do we know if it's been covered offers yet?
There was another offer last couple of weeks ago, which they did not accept.
I understand it wasn't very strong.
So that means a lot.
Everybody seems to want to turn it into housing. It's like such a I don't know why they want to turn it into housing. It's like
If they
the
turn it
absolute
into housing,
worst.
we're gonna take the going house.
Exactly right, yeah. And
That's the
so,
bottom.
yeah, so and the land's just not, the money you spend in site preparation is staggering. And that's, so everybody's coming with ridiculously low ball offers.
So their proposal to collaborate with us during this period and make this happen was $45,000. As we all have articulated, we'll benefit from the experience thinking that we need to continue to evaluate the investment with their pro forma from their perspective out of it, and we will be collaborating on other uses, other tenants that might go into the building. But our key focus will be on meeting, finding money, grants, grant making, and philanthropy, private sector, financial support to support the mission of this building and our mission. So can I get a motion to approve up to $45,000 to remake and less than that to go faster? Can I get a motion to approve up to $45,000 to engage John as collaboration on the John Muller Street purpose?
I'll make it. I second.
Tom first.
No,
Tom first.
thank you.
Tom
Fine, for
Paul second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Okay.
opposed?
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Okay, next on the agenda, grant writing. This is a very big and important article that we'll be doing in the next months, whether we do the vote or not. But anyway, I met with a grant writer who lives in Hudson, West Water. She's working grant for the city, a couple of them. And Jan Egan, who presented a scope of work to begin our grant research and writing. Jan, as you may know, well, Jan is a scribe, you know that. But Jan is not the same as a scribe. She's a writer and a commentator for 15 years in Manhattan and has quite an established track record of being a strategic thinker. So I asked her if she'd be willing to bring her skills and expertise to our grant writing efforts, and she enthusiastically agreed. She met with Justin and I, and they seem to feel that they can work closely together. There's a lot of ideas what we should be doing, but I presented them with a landscape for a first way to think about writing grants. And what we thought we needed to do first was grants that have to do with acquisition of the building, obtaining it, owning it, and then capacity functions to make it happen. A project manager for planning, oversight, construction, and work to scale the project. A construction consultant, this would be people who evaluate the building, the pricing, the sourcing of food materials, the recycling through, empty the recycling materials left behind. And all these words in there, so when they're searching for grants, they can solve that, they will come up. Infrastructure, remediation of asbestos, mold, water damage, and broken windows, installation of sprinkler systems throughout. Heating and cooling, removal, recycle of existing HVAC and replacing the energy efficient HVAC systems to get the building carbon neutral. Passive solar array for energy generation and other energy advantages. Adaptive reuse grants, not tearing the building down, upcycling as a building that can be reused and repurposed. And the timeline that I gave them, because we're funding really quickly, January would be a landscape research period of time. We're going to look at in those categories, whatever's available and make the deadlines are, what the opportunities are. And then in January and February, research and development, the project is outlined in the scope of work above. They would be doing that and writing grants in February, March. So I received a proposal from Jess Waller, who is very enthusiastic about this idea and this project, and she likes the cultural aspect of it and the social and public aspect of it. She has estimated that the project is outlined in the scope of work will take a minimum of 10 hours per week to complete. I think it would take more than that, but 10 hours is a considerable estimate. And I think we'll just look at that and see how we feel. It may take up to 35 hours per week. She proposes an 8-week period of engagement from 1/8 to 2/29, and her consultant fee per hour is $80 an hour. So the minimum, project minimum would be $6,400. And we can copy on the time we want to be working. So, you know, she's a tremendous resource. And working in Jan, who's also a tremendous resource. I feel like we have a very powerful setup. She would want the first half paid, $3,200 due on 1/8, and the second, $80 paid at the end. There would be rolling applications, administration. She would have, negotiations afterwards, depending on how we feel it's how the relationship is going. But I think she's giving us a nice, tasty start to get going and keep doing what we know we need to do. So,
We should report that.
she reports back to the board every month, and she will be reporting. She also is a project manager, which is an interesting thing, because we have been talking that engaging them more is gonna be, there's gonna be an intense amount of focus and energy coming our way from them every day about what they're trying to do. So we're gonna need another point person to, besides me or the executive committee, to be answering those questions. And so that would be something that I would be looking for her to maybe step into as well, because we have a little more capacity to do it.
I agree, Chris. We have to have a day-to-day contact. They're gonna put 5 or 6 people on the ring. Somebody's gonna be calling me from one another. You're gonna.
So are there any questions? Does anyone wanna,
She said she was interested in the project manager position, or?
She is, yeah, for this, yeah. I mean, there's another person who's interested in a different kind of background. She's an IBM executive, and I don't necessarily feel that she would be right for this particular. I think she'd be a very powerful person to employ doing some project management. I don't see her on this. I don't know why, but I think Jess has the right. She's very smart, really. She's very measured. She thinks very, thinks very well about when you ask her questions. She takes long and thinks about it. She doesn't seem to have any kind of that like people don't learn about it. She's great about it, which is great. This company is great writing, strategic writing. And she seems to really enjoy that.
That is a great idea. I wouldn't like access to.
Yeah.
I want to be the project manager to get you.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, and so what we talked about would be, Jen and Jess would be immersed in the documents that we have already shared, the same way we would immerse them in both of it. We will bring them up to speed on all the language that we use, all the kinds of ways we describe things. We would each do another tour of the building for them and for them involved, so we would marry all those together and do another tour. Okay, well, if there's no discussion, I'd like to authorize a meeting grant writing work and a motion to engage Joe Solar as the grant writer and the proposal. Look first, second, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you very much. Okay. Finally, we are, there's 2 more things in the Hudson Hub update. We are forming a committee to deal with comprehensive conversations and get some expert thinking on what work will be required to adapt the building, calling it a building committee. We do have an estimate, a revised estimate for construction costs based on the feasibility study that was done based on their thinking of what needs to be done. That's not necessarily what we will feel needs to be done, but we have a more up-to-date construction estimate. Nick is going to chair this committee, and it's our idea that this committee is made up of an architect, an engineer, and some contractors that work locally, and landscape architects at this point are volunteering their time. This team already has commitments from Joe Rack for the construction, James Crawford, who is with what the property business, and is now the lead engineer at property engineering. And if she's been enthusiastic to be involved, actually, she couldn't have been more interested in this. Chip Wolf and Rural Architects and other construction persons being made. Okay.
Who actually is working on a 150,000 square foot more one school in Vermont. So by bringing some key, experience.
And the landscape architect would be our board member for the second one, because she has worked with developers, not just on members, but on actual reimagining spaces, and she's enthusiastic to get involved. So we want to keep this committee tight, but if there's someone you want to suggest to make the joint committee, please do.
Because everybody's going to be doing this at least at the beginning and very rapidly in order to suss out the numbers as best we can. Again, a lot of what we'll do in this is the proposal will be, this is what you get. It's not what, we have to, how do you want to say, you don't ask the tenant what do you want, otherwise you get everything that so in this case, this will be a proposal And that's initially how we work. I shouldn't say. I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot of conflicting, not conflicting, but, different opinions.
So definitely we'll meet, at the jump of the year.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I want to coordinate that with Jan and Jess and
Yeah.
John Moore, John, who's going to the two in there, but I think we want to do that. Okay, we have the first letter of intent from Dr. John Kennedy is sitting over there on the table for everyone to see a copy of it. It's exactly what we were hoping for, and we're seeking other letters of support for January. These letters do go a long way towards, people highlighting from whoever the source is, so, more should be coming in, so, we'll get that done. Any questions on that? Okay.
No, congratulations. We started talking about Tony's in a long time ago.
But their enthusiasm is palpable.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and the new vice president, Stephen Ferris, who's not with us, was very enthusiastic. Okay, I'm going to ask Janet Paul if you want to have any comment on the website, or any update on the website, or the commercial, or?
No, we met with Tim, and, building up a lot of things. And what we'll do is we'll launch it'll be a password protected site, like a beta site for everyone to look at.
Until it's done.
Yes.
Okay, not public.
Not
And we are updating our current website with documents and things that need to be there, so, yeah. Okay, policy documents, moving on to that. These documents have been reviewed by all members of the executive committee and Julie Marshall and their speech and her attorneys. And everyone seems to feel they're appropriate for an organization of our size. If you remember when we first reviewed them, they were kind of more boilerplate than they were related to the kinds of bandwidth that we have to actually do what we do. So, with Bill's encouragement, we asked them to look at them and they did downsize and so on. And we still feel we're really well covered for what our work is and what we need to be, in public saying we do. So, I know that in the sexual harassment form, they refer to a form, a model complaint form for reporting sexual harassment. I have it here. It's the state's version of a model complaint form, and I think we would be adopting this. We're gonna have, Julie Marshall look at it and just tell us that it's a good one to go in. Hopefully we won't have to see it, but whatever. There it is. It's gonna be fun. So can I have a motion to approve the, policy documents as revised? Yeah, go
One
on.
of the discussion is, there was a question about
Thank you.
getting 2 or 3 bids, and I was under the impression that was in our bylaws. It wasn't, it was always, I guess, a policy, not a part of the bylaws, and that was really never, so they're recommending 2, so I'm just saying, to get 2 bids, we should just stick with that.
Okay.
And also the bylaws that were put up with, they really weren't revised, they're pretty pre-read and edited for these studies and so on. So it's not like we
You don't have to
changed
approve
it,
it.
okay?
And we did have bylaws with highlighting,
Yeah.
thanks to Jan and Paul, they determined that the bylaws on the website were edited but not approved necessarily. So we replaced those with these, which were approved at our last. Okay, so,
So much just-
and I see a bunch of approve the policies that we've been looking
I think that might-
at. Okay, Paul first, second. Bill, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, this is a big moment. We have correct policies that we can put on the website. And we also have our policies finished for the audit. Great. Thank you all. New business, the Oakdale Plunge, Peter Frank had been running the Oakdale Plunge for, some number of years, and he is not running it this year. He had applied for the Hudson Deepwater Rescue Squad, but he was not going to do it as well as the youth department, and so, a fire guy from the Deepwater Plunge reached out to me. They would like us to be the corporate sponsor of the take over doing it, and what the expansion was. It's not just using our 501c3 as a pass-through for donations as we often have done for other people. It's really doing the website, revising the website and maintaining it and sponsors, and so he really needs a producer to produce the films, that's what he's asking. That, I wanted to be sure that, clearly that doesn't fit into our mission really. And I asked him to talk, I was supposed to call him and talk to him, and Phil didn't have enough conversation.
I did, I had gone into the call, thinking he meant, fiscal sponsor, other kids. And, we did that, well, I've done many times, the deal was pretty straight up. Basically, you know, you go to the bank, I would bring our papers and, tax ID, and I would also require that he open a separate account. There is no crossover, not on our books, not anywhere else. All we're doing is running a tax ID. That's what I thought I was going to be doing, and I thought, well, it's the fire department, maybe. But that, I don't think that's what they want. He wants to sponsor with capital S. That would take public space on the web or in other areas with these funds, what he was supported by HDC and fire department or whatever. I'm not comfortable with that. So Chris and I wanted to bring it to y'all. If, well, it's two things, frankly. I don't think he wants the first offer. I'm okay spending a couple hours at Vanderbilt County on the
That's right.
yeah, if you'll take that makes sense. Not a problem with it. I think it's good cause and whatever, but it is not. I'm talking to the mission Krista, and I'm not seeing no sponsorship involvement.
Okay.
So we're trying to make a connection with the co-op producer person, and see if they have any interest.
You know, I said to him, I'm happy to think about personally who I could refer you to do the work. And then interestingly enough, I did speak to Jen Crawford, who is his partner in this. She's also part of the and she felt that she described it differently than he did. She said, we're dividing the work up and we're all doing a little bit of it. So, you know, that to me sounded more they would spend a bigger chance of making something happen. But I've been thinking about who I might refer.
Me too. I mean, that would be great if we had a sponsor, capital S. That would be a fantastic introduction. But I don't know right now. Peter did a ton of work on this, for sure.
And he got the donations like quite high. Oh, I mean, they were excellent. Excellent. So, you know, there's going to be, and I said to him, you know, what we need to do is look at all the people that did it last year and add 10 more onto that and make all those people back in, but also add 10 more. And he's like, that's a good idea. But, you know, I could not list anyone and do why, so we have our own expertise.
So this coming year, the youth department is total on?
Well, the benefit goes to the youth department.
Oh, so they're still
They still
spending
get the
that.
money.
Gotcha.
But they Peter was running it, he started writing it. He didn't dump it on them, but he gave them fair warning, and now they kind of said, it's coming back to us. I did voluntarily give people the thumbs up.
No.
Tom's done it. He's done it a few times.
You've done it.
You did it. That is, oh, yes, it's over.
You're running it. I mean, you're like,
Enough liquor.
Okay,
Well, if they can find a sponsor, maybe we could make a small contribution to that person or entity.
I would be comfortable with that, if the board is comfortable.
I mean, I was personally making contributions, so I'd be
Yeah.
happy to do that.
Martha, do you have thought on the number? If you wanna-
Oh, I guess I don't, I mean, no.
Okay.
I mean, he told me the cost to actually run the website, do the work, he said it's about $35 million, so it's not tremendous amount of money. But it's the time and the thinking and the improving and the phone calls and all that stuff, which is a lot of work.
I think about how many times I've been thinking of
I have to track them down. And people in our town,
That's
a lot of theirs. Okay, so we'll revisit that a little bit and see.
Is that for March?
Okay, business roundtables. These were very well attended at the beginning of last year. And I'm calling them, I want to reinstate them, I'm calling them Let's Talk Business as the working title. I'm scheduled 2 to begin in January 9th. I have Melissa Richard Bowden, a co-founder and co-owner with Partner Red Color of Hudson Home. These 2 gentlemen have worked in Hudson and Regional for more than 20 years as a 20-year old. And they've went from a little tiny store to a very big 2-story store, and they have grown their business considerably. They have weathered a lot of ups and downs. And I thought it would be interesting for 15 or 20 minutes in the beginning of the roundtable for him to share his pros and cons, ups and downs, goods and not goods. And he's really enthusiastic about doing this, and he's a very big supporter of Hudson business and being on Wall Street and being part of the community. So I think he'd be a very good kickoff speaker for the first one. And February 5th would be another one. We decided, I think that's Tuesday. Monday's a holiday because it's their weekend, and Tuesday would be the day to do it. Would be a hospitality tourism guest speaker. I reached out to Kristen, she's thinking about it. I did reach out to the New York State Tourism Association, Industry Association, NYSTIA staff member Nate Rezoff, and he's considering coming and talking about the state of tourism business in New York State, the state of where he sees it's going, trends, what we should be thinking about. And I sent him a very, very good letter, so I'm pretty sure he's going to get back to me. But I think these are good. I reached out to Alex to try to see if he would share this email list for businesses because when Missy did the first one, she kind of went one door to another and reached out and people suggested. And I think we could make a much bigger impact if everybody knew what was happening on that day and we had an agenda and looked like a good email. I think that would be good. And the location. And the location. Well, I was worried about overflow. If everybody decides to come, we have to find a bigger space than this. So, we don't have any email lists. What? Not to my knowledge. I've never thought to figure out how to get that. Yeah. We need to go. So, okay, I'll wait to hear from Alex and see if they're sure this is. And that's one last thing. This is a New York State Tourism Matching Funds guidelines. This is online, and I would encourage everyone to apply for money. There's $3,400,000. This program is for 2024, January 1 to December 31. I think if you think like this, and I think it's New York State Matching Fund Guidelines for New York State Department of Economic Development and Tourism. And it's very comprehensive. It's money that's available, and it starts January 1. So it's available January 1. So I'd like us to try to get some money from this fund. And what's it say? $3,400,000. The tourism promotion agencies for 2023. Pretty simple guidelines, not that detailed. So we should be getting money for tourism. Yes, you get an admin and get an account. And that would be a guideline. Yeah. I mean, they don't fund admin, they don't fund infrastructure. They
It's
fund
not
advance,
capacity,
bringing
it's
people
programmatic.
and growing in advance. That's really what probably benefited from something like that.
But that was one of the things that they would find something like they do off the admins on their line items that they can get funded for, so it's what allows, but yeah.
You put the admin in the program.
Some of it is related to how many people you bring to New York State for an event. Because they have a New York State, they should have that New York State, so they want to bring many people to the state for an event somewhere. Repetitive, yes.
Does it matter?
Okay, so this is This is, I think, our first meeting in December, and it's also our last meeting. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna call, for a motion to adjourn the meeting. Oh, public comment. Any public
And the owl.
comment? Okay, thank you all for
Motion.
your year of
Thank you.
service. Motion to adjourn, John President, second, Paul, all in favor?
Aye.
Now we're going to adjourn to the merchant house. Some lovely merchants.
Council meeting.
Huh?
Council meeting.
You know what it's pouring, Tom?